Okay, we're recording.
Oh, that was really fast.
That was pretty fast.
Oddity Files.
Podcast.
All things creepy,
Crypto.
otherworldly.
Well, we're back.
We're back in the States,
In the
people.
States.
We had I had a blast in London. Clayton and DJ Jimmy had already been there a week and a half and partied their asses off in Berlin.
We did. We didn't really think about it. So because of flight costs, we went in even a day earlier than we were supposed to because it was several $100s cheaper than going the day that we needed to. So it was just us the first couple of days, and we were just like bopping around Berlin, and we come across these nightclubs, which we didn't even mean to. We were actually checking out the longest remaining portion of the Berlin Wall.
Oh, cool.
And then we're like, what are all those lights over there? So we go over there. And
You didn't hear the oons oons music? Is it oons oons music over there? I don't even know.
It depends on the ones you go to. Some are, but some are like very transy, and people are just like swaying back and forth, and their heads are just like rotating.
That had to be
And we were like,
interesting. I'm not judging, but interesting.
No, but we weren't at that one for long.
Okay.
But it was funny because they all say they close at like 7 a.m.
That's insane. I can't even stay up till 3 or 4 or whenever the hell the bars close out here.
And here's the thing. We talked about it, and we were like, there is a reason that bars in the States close at like 3 or 4. It's not because people get too drunk. It's because your ass just needs to go to bed.
Yeah. Preach.
Like,
Mine's
seriously.
more like 8 p.m., but whatever.
The one night we got home at like 5:30 in the morning, and then had to be up at like 9 the next morning.
Oh, no.
But the thing was, we weren't even drinking a lot. We were just really
Exhausted.
tired.
I think part of a hangover is just you're fucking tired.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was really cool.
Good.
It blew our mind the amount of American music that is played. It's like all American music in the clubs.
It was like that back in the 80s, early 90s when I was there
It's
as
so
well.
funny because people like screaming the lyrics with like
Accents.
accents because they've, for the most part, not really a clue what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun though.
In London, we got to meet some new friends.
We did, and it was talk about another long night.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. So there's another paranormal podcast out there y'all should check out. It's called Not for the Dinner Table, and we met the hosts in London. We met David, and I keep calling him David, but he goes by Dave online.
I called him David today, and DJ Jimmy was like, "Who?" I was like, "David."
No, I love it because I can go, ew, David. Anyway, Schitt's Creek. Awesome. You should watch it. But they were amazing. David came out a little early. We actually put him to work at the day job for a little bit, and he loved every second of it. It was amazing. And then Sophie came in, and they are just our kind of people.
I know, and I hated it when they first got there because we were so busy, and I was like, they're gonna think we're the most standoffish assholes in this whole world. Because I kept saying, like, I'm so sorry, I've got to go do this.
Same.
And then it just left them standing there. But like as you and I both know, when we are like in the heat of, especially a show like that,
Right.
we have to do that with a lot of people.
We do. And honestly, they just stood next to me and watched me shoot photos, yelling the entire time, ready, next, ready. And they were just in awe.
That's so funny. And then David came out to the front of lines and was helping just answer questions because he just loved it.
It was awesome. And then Sunday night, we drank a lot of bourbon.
We drank a lot of bourbon.
And talked a lot of ghost stories. And Sophie has invited us out to her house to investigate it because it is totally haunted.
The bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Unreal.
She sent a picture this morning
So cool.
of a rug moves every night.
Yeah. Oh, I
Leg
just got a cramp. This is a second. It happened on the way here, and I thought it was going to crash.
That's not. It's probably you're dehydrated.
I think I'm growing.
You can't get any taller. I was looking at that video we posted the other day. We'll get to why the video was posted that we took in London to promo
Right.
season 2. And I looked like a freaking midget next to you and Carter. You're not allowed to grow anymore.
I was so happy to get home. So I forgot like my like face trimmer.
Oh God.
And so
I thought you were a little fuzzy.
Yeah, and it's like gross and so splotchy and like it just looks weird.
And it turns redder the longer it gets.
Absolutely. We had not been home in the door 10 minutes and I was like, it was just
Thank
driving
God.
me insane. And I hate, so my mustache grows like twice the speed as everything else.
Oh, that's weird.
And so when it,
Mine too. No, just kidding.
when my mustache is like in my peripheral vision, it just freaks me out. And I'm like, I just always am conscious of it. And I'm like, just go away. I even tried at one point. So we had like a razor.
Yeah.
So I tried like with a comb, like holding it up and just razoring over the comb.
Got some
Didn't
scissors.
work.
That might have worked with the comb.
It was just pulling.
But
really.
you look very dapper, very handsome. So thank you for trimming that thing.
Thank you. I did
You
it for
were
the podcast.
A little Grizzly Adams going
so
on there.
my mustache wasn't scraping the this thing.
But we have huge news.
Oh, we do finally.
Finally.
You probably thought it was never going to happen.
I thought it was never going to happen. There are 2 seasons of Oddity Files.
Regardless of where you live.
In the UK and the US.
Right.
And I am so fucking excited. And I watched it as soon as I got home because I could. And
you wanted to make sure it was true.
yeah, well, first and foremost, absolutely. But people are loving it. I loved it.
I know.
People are already asking about season 3.
I know.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
chill,
listen.
people. You have no idea how stressed out I've been the last 4 months about this.
But it is so exciting that it's
It
finally there.
is. Yeah, and people are watching, and the
Even if
stats are
it
coming
meant
in.
we had to forfeit one episode.
We did. There is a lost episode that you can only watch on YouTube right now.
Maybe we will have like a re-release once we're big and famous. With some of the episodes that never became episodes.
Oh, that would be fun.
Right. But not till we're big and famous.
Yeah, but you guys need to watch it just so you know we are an independent podcast. We're not making any money off this at all. But if you watch Oddity Files on Amazon Prime, we make a teeny tiny little bit of money.
Right.
So please watch it. It helps fund our investigations. It helps fund equipment for this podcast. And we have merch
We do have
that
merch.
helps fund this kind of stuff as well. If you go to oddityfiles.com, you click on shop. We've got 3 shirts right now.
3.
Yeah, I like that new one I made.
Me too.
Ghosts don't scare me, people do. Did you notice the stick figure has like a little serial killer knife in it?
Yeah. I know.
But check it out. Buy it. Support local indie reality shows and podcasts. There's a couple, actually, stories in the news that I feel like I should touch on. The first, I'm sure you guys have seen it. I've had it sent to me via all social networking at least 100 times. But have you seen this video of the Michigan couple who claims they captured a ghost on their nanny cam? It's a baby. Oh, you might want to come here.
Yes, because
Okay, yeah, it was everywhere. And it looks legit. I mean, it looks
It's
like an
creepy.
actual humanoid creature walking across.
yeah, one of my friends posted it on Facebook, and I think I commented because I'm like, this is why I'm against
Nanny
video
cam. Oh,
baby
yeah,
monitors.
yeah.
Like, what do you expect to happen?
Well, I would rather know than not know.
No, baby monitors just in general they actually scare me. I might have a legit phobia of baby monitors.
Really?
Yes, they're terrifying.
Well, I one of my first paranormal experiences was with a baby monitor. I heard it tell my son to shut up when he was having a crying fit.
Well,
But that was when it would cross over with wireless phones and things like that.
But then there's that scene in Insidious where it happens, and then she runs up to the baby's room, and there's like a figure standing like behind the little like net that was over the cradle or whatever.
Oh.
And I'm like, no good comes from baby monitors.
I need to rewatch the Insidious movies just because you reference them so often.
I just really, really do like them, especially if you watch them like back to back to back.
Because I've only seen the first one, and I was like, oh, I feel like they just tried to be too artsy here.
Oh no, because when you watch the second one, you're like, whoa, because there's so many things like in the background of scenes in the first one
That you
that
didn't even
you don't
catch.
even pay attention to watching it. But when you watch the second one, it's like that actually was something.
Oh.
So when you watch them back to back to back, they're actually really great.
Maybe I'll have to do that during daylight. But the other event, I guess you could say, that's in the news, VIP Jim sent me. There is a Bigfoot festival happening less than 2 hours from Cleveland. I kind of sort of want to go.
You know who will be there?
Who?
Our friend from Lexington. From
Oh, Greg Yost.
Bigfoot Greg.
He will definitely be there. So it's in Lore City, Ohio, and it's May 4th, 2019. And it looks like it's going to be a good time. So I'm sure you just kind of Google Bigfoot Festival.
Do they need a live podcast?
Oh, maybe y'all should tell them they need a live podcast. We'd have to do Bigfoot stories.
Blow them up.
Blow them up. But I thought that'd be kind of cool.
That would be really cool.
We went to the Cryptid Con last year, which was fun, where
It
we
was a lot
met
of fun.
Greg Yost, and it was part of our Higginsport episode from season 1 on
It was part of
Amazon
our
Prime.
Harrodsburg Herald episode.
Yes, it was. It was a good time. So that's what I had for paranormal in the news. Did you have anything further?
Bigfoot. There was a traffic incident involving Bigfoot in Bloomington, Indiana.
Totally fell for it.
Kitsie and I both. So she sends me this article. She's like, "Look at this," and it was literally like a traffic incident with the
That happened
Monroe
right here
County
in Monroe County.
sheriff was reporting, and it was like it's the first confirmed case of a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time that in the Monroe State Forest, or what's it called?
Yeah, Morgan
right.
Monroe County Forest is where I live, and then it's the Hoosier National
Hoosier
Forest.
National Forest. We're like, there have to be big feet in there. And so
Several
she sent me
sightings.
this, and it was like in the morning or something while we were in London. And I look at DJ Jimmy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this literally happened just south of the lake that we go to.
Yeah.
And like, you could see the excitement in my eyes. And he literally goes, it's April Fool's. And I was like, oh, damn
When I
it.
read it, I'm scrolling through it, I'm reading through it, I'm like, of course it fucking happens when I'm not even anywhere near it, and blah, 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 blah. And then I keep reading it, I'm like, oh, fuck.
I know.
Clayton tried to April Fool's me last night. It's April 1st.
I know.
So.
And I was like, I'm so mad.
I know. Hannah from our live podcast, she was our hometown story.
Yes.
She had tagged me in that because she's in Bloomington as well.
My hopes were through the roof.
Yeah. But for just a second, I was like, what is the world going to be now?
In Bloomington, of all. How convenient.
And it was actually the state
Like sheriff's
department that posted
it.
it. It was brilliant. Well done, guys. Sure as hell fooled me for a sec. Oh, well, I've got stories.
I have stories.
Well, I have a story. And it kind of goes along the theme of, season 2 making it on Amazon Prime. And I am not going to say that too many times, people. So prepare to hear it often.
Are you first? Did you already tell us who's first?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I
Is she
thought
first?
you did. Oh, shit. It's
Yeah.
fine. I
Chill
didn't really
out.
say anything. Son of a bitch.
No, you're good.
Eddie.
But now I know that
Eddie. Jimmy, cut that out.
I know how
Jet
excited
lag.
you are. Oh, so I had lunch with my mom today when I went to pick up Coda.
Uh-huh.
And she was telling me how funny she thought it was that we were calling her bitch face Martha. I'm like, well, it fits.
Everybody likes the fuck Teresa tagline from last week as well.
And then she was like, she said, I just went blank. What did you say right before this? Oh, she was like, I always laugh because Kitsie says, DJ Jimmy, cut that out. And he never does. And she's like, and it makes me laugh every time. I wanted to be like, there are a lot more times that we say that he actually does cut out.
Not too many, though.
Yeah.
I keep it for the humor.
I appreciate it. What kind of?
Okay, so mine, I was like, I was searching for something very different. And then when I found this, I was like, oh.
I'd love to watch you actually be in your head while you kind of search for stories, because I bet it's fucking interesting as hell.
I know. It really is. Sorry, I'm changing my view, so it's like full
Oh,
screen.
yeah.
No, don't zoom that close. Good Lord.
That's how I have to have it.
Wow. I know it looks like an actual teleprompter. I'm just kidding. I memorize all my stories. So, the James Dean death car.
Ooh, I know a little bit about this, and I love this
Was it on
story.
Mysteries at the Museum?
Actually, CSI did a
Oh.
episode on. A lot of things have done episodes on it.
So, James Dean just got this car while he was waiting for his ultimate racing machine, a Lotus MKX, that was delayed. So, it starts with the Spyder. It wasn't even the car Dean himself was after, but being able to race again was something that he wanted. Like, that's just essentially what he wanted.
I mean, he's fucking James Dean.
Exactly. So the Spyder was customized by George Barris, who went on to design the Batmobile, which I thought was interesting.
I didn't know that.
Also, it had a funny nickname, Little Bastard.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, right.
Did he have vanity plates?
Probably not.
I bet he did.
So Little Bastard was numbered 100 or 130 on the front, side, and back of the car. It had tartan. Is that how you say it?
Tartan plaid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It had tartan on the seating and 2 red stripes at the rear of its wheel well. Bill Hickman was the person that gave it the nickname of Little Bastard. And Dean asked a guy named Dean Jeffries to paint it on the car. I don't know who any of these people are, but a lot of names come up because they're involved. And
Oh. So did it say why he called it Little Bastard?
no. It didn't, but
He must
who
have
knows?
known something.
So
Are you okay?
demons. Wow.
Airplane air.
If I get the hiccups, I'm going to be pissed. When I cough really hard, I get the hiccups. Does that happen to
Really?
anybody else?
No, when I
Okay.
drink too much, I get the hiccups like fucking Tom and Jerry. It's ridiculous.
So as the legend of the car's energy begins, after picking up the car, Dean asked another person whose name I won't mention, so DJ Jimmy doesn't have to put in the story, to look at the car, and this unnamed person told him that the car looked sinister.
Ooh, that's.
Which, like-
I mean, that's badass.
Yeah,
though,
for a
right?
car, yeah.
Yeah.
But he told Dean that if he didn't get rid of the car, James would be dead in a week.
Oh,
I'm like,
Why?
that's a bold statement.
was it like super torquey? I'm making up
No,
words
I mean-
I've heard my husband say right now.
No, it's just a very standard looking, like,
I'm talking like motors and like, was it like super fast?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How many horsepower?
But-
Not that it makes any sense to me.
the guy was right. It was exactly 1 week later the fatal crash took Dean's life.
Oh shit!
Right.
I never heard that part.
Yeah. So this guy wasn't the only one that had feelings from the car.
Okay.
Dean's current girlfriend at the time refused to even get in the car. And a couple of his other friends expressed feelings of unease around the car. Right. Which I'm like, why? But,
Yeah.
who knows? So when that guy verbalized his concerns to Dean, he was brushed off with Dean saying something like, I'm destined to die in a speeding car, like, die doing what you love. That
Yeah.
kind of like typical thing a race car driver or someone who just loves speed would say.
Yeah.
Mila Nurmi was horrified when she saw the Spyder, even going as far as leaving a warning note on the windshield for him, which I'm like, I don't know why all these people are coming for his car.
It's just a car.
It's just a car.
They're all just jealous.
Yeah,
But
and
they were right.
there was just a long list that goes on, even like his family members that just were like scared of this car. And in my
So
mind,
weird.
he only had it for a week before he died in the crash.
What
so
did he
it's
show
like-
the entire country this car?
Right, I know. Was he like? It's not like he was posting it all over Instagram.
Well, yep, that wasn't a thing.
But whatever. So the quote "little bastard" was supposed to be trailered to Selena's, which I'm not sure where that's at, but here we are.
It sounds fancy.
But at the last minute, Dean decided to drive her and took the mechanic with him, leaving the others in his group following behind in a station wagon that he was supposed to be in. So at 3:30 p.m., Dean was pulled over and given a speeding ticket for doing 65 and a 45. This, I'm not making up. At 5:59, Donald Turnip Speed,
no.
and that's the actual name, was driving home from school for the weekend in a
Poor
1950.
unfortunate child.
I know, but it's like, listen, of course he's going to have a car crash. He was driving home from school for the weekend in a 1950 Ford Custom Tudor Coupe and traveling in the opposite direction from the Spyder. The two cars collided head-on in the intersection. Dean was pinned in the Porsche with a broken neck, among other injuries, and died in transport to the hospital. The mechanic was thrown clear of the car, but suffered a broken leg, a broken jaw, and a few internal injuries. Surviving the crash, he would later go on to perish in 1981 in an auto accident.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a convertible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Turnip Speed, the other guy, suffered only minor injuries and refused medical attention. He was not cited for the accident and has never publicly talked about it.
Really?
Yeah, crazy. But, I mean, think about it. People were probably out for his life. He killed James Dean.
He probably went into hiding. I would have.
I would have.
Yeah.
Little Bastard was mangled and nearly torn into, looking like what they said, a crumpled pack of cigarettes. Which makes sense. Like, at the time, those cars had, no safety standards. Like, they just, anytime they're in a wreck, they all look like that.
You were lucky if they had seatbelts back then.
So a guy named George Barris purchased what was remained of the car, selling off the engine and the chassis, both to race enthusiasts.
Okay.
So the two tires that survived the wreck were sold to a young man in New York. It was rumored that when the car arrived at Barris's garage, it fell and broke the mechanic's leg.
What?
Yep. However, there are many, many things that did in fact happen that other people say didn't happen, and there's a lot of hearsay because if something like that happens in a garage, how is there public record?
Yeah, of course.
Barris loaned out the wreckage to the State Highway Patrol in various locations to discourage speeding. Which I'm they do that in front of high schools.
Yeah, I was just going to say, before prom, they'd bring out the
Don't drink and drive.
mad moms against drunk drivers or whatever.
So on October 21st, 1956, both doctors raced their cars with pieces of Little Bastard in stalls in their car.
Why?
Yeah, one of the guys' cars spun out of control, hit a tree, killed him instantly.
Oh, fuck.
The other guy was seriously injured when his car rolled going around a curve in that same race, hurting him very badly, but it didn't kill him. But some say it wasn't the chassis that caused the accident, but it's still a crazy coincidence.
So that was the pieces that were in it was the actual chassis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of that guy's car, the guy that got really hurt but didn't die.
Okay.
I don't know what part the other guy had that did die. But
the clock.
The first race that they were in with pieces of that car, one died and one almost died.
What are the chances?
What are the chances?
Yeah. That fucking little bastard.
The two tires that went to the young man that was reported to have both blown at the same time, and he lost control and he ended up in a ditch.
Okay. Who puts
A car that got mangled. Who
puts used tires from a smashed up fucking car on their car? I don't know a whole lot about cars, but I'm just saying that doesn't sound like a good idea. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I digress.
a car part enthusiast ripped his arm open on a jagged piece of metal when he was trying to steal the steering wheel out of it.
Well, if you're stealing shit, you deserve that shit. Good job, little bastard.
Another person tried to break into the storage unit and steal a piece of the blood-soaked upholstery.
Oh my God.
And he was extremely injured, while trying to do it. So the first guy gashes open his arm because he's trying to steal the steering wheel. Another guy breaks in and tries to steal blood-soaked upholstery.
Is it James Dean's blood or the asshole thief's blood?
That's a great question. I'm assuming it's James Dean's blood.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's probably why he wanted it. While being stored in a garage in Fresno, California, the garage caught fire and everything except the Porsche was destroyed.
Okay, just fucking take that thing to a junkyard and smash
Just
that
bury
shit
it
up.
or just put it in the ocean.
Yeah.
Make a coral reef out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But so this whole garage burns down and there's not even a scratch on the Porsche. Naturally.
What?
Yeah.
A lot of this I haven't heard. This is crazy.
And this, I couldn't find any confirmation, but I saw it multiple times. So I'm like, might be true.
Yeah.
that while on display in Sacramento on the anniversary of Dean's death, the car snapped a bolt and fell off of a pedestal, severely hurting a student that was standing near.
Oh, my God.
Right. Just get rid of the car.
Yeah.
Later, en route to Salinas, the same damn place they were going, the guy transporting it lost control of his truck and was thrown free of the cab to die when little bastard fell off the flatbed and crushed him to death.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, people, when are we going to learn our lesson? Little bastard is out for fucking blood, okay?
I wish that I was making these up.
No, I know you're not. So let me ask a question. So there were parts here and parts there. Did they try to rebuild it and then that's what they're
Well, so like
transporting
that
around?
guy that bought majority of it,
Okay.
he like rehabbed it a little bit,
Okay.
I'm assuming, or I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's memorabilia at that point. It's just
Right.
fucking cursed memorabilia.
Cursed. So, so that happens, falls off flatbed, crushes the guy to death. And that, talk about a series of unfortunate events. Not only does he lose control, gets thrown from the truck, he then is crushed by this Satan car.
I can't even fucking figure out the logistics
I know.
to that.
So, 2 years later, a fatal freeway accident happened when it fell off another flatbed truck. I'm not lying.
Where are they getting their fucking ratchet straps from? I think they're faulty.
In 1958, a truck transporting the car was parked on a hill and smashed the windshield of the car behind it because the brakes gave out. In 1959, on display in New Orleans, the Porsche fell apart into 11 pieces. Barris, this guy who bought it, apparently having just enough of it.
Yeah.
If it killing several people wasn't enough already.
Is he responsible for that? I don't even know.
So he shipped it back to wherever it came from in California. But it said, however it was shipped, that the person never got it and no one's seen the car since.
Get the fuck out.
Swear. However, on the 50th anniversary of Dean's death, the passenger door of the car was placed on display at the Volvo Auto Museum in Illinois. And how they managed to find it, no one knows.
Nobody knows.
Literally no one knows. And I looked and I couldn't find it. There's currently a $1 million reward for what's left of Satan Little Bastard.
Well, I think somebody put on their fucking thinking cap and put it in the ocean like we just said. Except for the door, apparently. Allegedly. I don't even know the guy.
The remaining mechanical parts are reported to be with one of Dean's relatives, but again, that's just hearsay.
Yeah.
And a few years back, it was reported that a piece was sold on eBay stating that it was a piece of that car. But again, who the hell
Nobody
knows?
knows. Yeah.
But there were just way too many things that happened that I was like, that's not a coincidence. Like,
No.
these things don't happen. And even if they were just like accidents, this car is killing people left and right.
Loads of people.
So the original story that I was like going to try to find, you know how we always talk about how we're terrified after investigations to look in a rearview mirror?
Yeah.
I was going to look for some sort of like factual evidence of that, you know?
Yeah.
And then I came across this. I think I Google searched like haunted cars. And I saw this and I was like, what the hell?
So I can't find this article I'm looking for, but so in Indianapolis, they find this seat of a Jeep laying in a parking lot of like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that with blood all over it and human teeth in it. Yes. But after some research, they got, I don't know, VIN numbers or whatever from the seat, and they figured out it was a Jeep that was part of a suicide scene in West Virginia, and they sold it to somebody in Indiana, apparently without cleaning it out after the suicide.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody knows more about this story, it's killing me. Why would they sell this Jeep without cleaning it out? I mean, the teeth from the suicide were in this seat,
No.
covered in blood. So that's kind of paranormal in the news. It kind of goes with your story. But it's so creepy, right?
Right.
But your story was excellent. It was really good. No, I had heard about the curse, and I just thought it was more like, I thought the car survived and that people kept buying it and then crashing it, but and like duh at that point. But it's just bits and pieces.
It reminded me though of one of the stories I did on the first couple episodes with the airplane that crashed and they like parted it out and then
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Was that like episode 2?
I think it was episode 2.
Yeah, that was so good.
But yeah. Why'd they put it on another flatbed? I guess it had been 2 years since it smashed the other guy.
Yeah, but still.
What are the odds, though, it being put on another flatbed, smashing another guy?
That's ridiculous. Whoever stole it, kudos.
Right.
I hope it is.
They
part of
probably
the quality.
died.
They probably did. They
They're
fell off
probably
a cliff
dead,
somewhere.
and no
Nobody
one
can
knows
find
where
them.
this car
Yeah,
is.
exactly. Well, my story is more of a haunting and kind of. I know I warned you that I had kind of a interactive story that will include you as well.
Uh-huh.
And this kind of goes along with the launch of episode 2 on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about Parramatta Jail
Whoa.
in Sydney, Australia. See what I did there?
Uh-huh.
There's not a whole lot of... what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much tell you the history of the jail, because we don't really do that in our episodes. And it's very interesting. We kind of got the tour, and it was a year ago, so I fucking forgot it.
But we also don't like to really research locations before we go in, because then it tells other people's experiences there, and we don't want to hear that. We want to go in with an open mind and form our own opinion.
Exactly. And sometimes when you get these tours and they said, this always happens here,
Right.
is it your brain
Trying to make it happen?
So that's kind of why we kind of go in cold. We get a tour as to, hey, this place has great activity. This room has great activity, but that's about it. But back to Parramatta Jail, which jail is spelled Gaol in Australia, and it throws me off every damn time. It's located just out of Sydney, Australia. It's about a half an hour Uber ride, if memory serves. I think our way there was much longer because we were stuck in traffic.
Oh, I thought our way back was much longer. I thought maybe I was
We had
just
to drop
sleepy.
Yeah, it was so sleepy. So the first jail, almost said goal, and I will throughout this story. I should have just typed jail. Was built in 1796. Governor John Hunter was irritated by the robberies which continued to be committed in the new penal colony of New South Wales. He therefore resolved to build a much-wanted jail at Parramatta and Sydney so that the quote-unquote pests responsible might be secured. The Parramatta Jail site was a little apart from the township on the north bank of the river near the south boundary of the present Prince Alfred Park. The current jail was built in 1835 and was open till 2011, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And actually being there, it didn't look like it was that old at all.
Not at all.
The site of the current jail sits on land which was owned by Governor Bligh. Governor Macquarie, and I'm probably butchering that name, was looking for a good place to build a more sturdy and substantial jail, and the first choice of the site, which had the requirements of fresh water along the Parramatta River, was occupied by Bligh's 105-acre land grant. Most of this information I took from APPI's website, which APPI was run by Pete, who was our tour guide that night. In the wings, 96 single cells were located on the ground floors and 96 double cells on the upper 2 floors, each capable of holding 6 persons. Can you imagine 6 people in those cells?
No.
Hell no. Although the new jail was incomplete, the old jail was in such a bad state of repair that the new jail was proclaimed a public jail, prison, and house of correction on the 3rd of January, 1842. The original solitary confinement cells were located on the ground floor of one wing. I kind of miss 1 wing, 2 wing, 5 wing. Prisoners in solitary cells had no furniture. That's why he wanted the damn chair.
That's why I wanted the chair. They didn't have any furniture.
It all fucking makes sense that you have to watch the episodes on Amazon Prime to know exactly what we're talking about. They slept on the stone floor with 2 blankets. They were supplied with a kid of water, which I have no idea what that was. I tried to Google what a kid of water is in Australian, and I have nothing.
In Australia.
1.5 pounds of bread a day and a night tub, which was emptied every morning. They were also allowed books and a daily washing. Undressing at night was not possible as the irons on their legs prevented the removal of trousers. No wonder the people in solitary were so miserable and mean to us.
How did their daily washing go about? Like a sponge bath?
Probably. Whore bath? I don't know. That's the same thing, right?
Right.
Okay. It remained open until its permanent closures in 2011. The craziest story, one of the crazy stories we heard while we were on the tour with APPI's Ghost Tours, Pete Banks, goes a little something like this. Leonard Keith Lawson spent 48 of his 76 years in prison. He worked as a successful commercial artist and photographer before becoming a violent criminal. Something in Lawson snapped when in 1954 he kidnapped 5 models, took them into the bush in North Sydney. He raped 2 and sexually assaulted the others at gunpoint. What's the difference between rape and sexual?
That's what I was asked, but
I kind of copied and pasted that from the site.
that's okay.
He was originally sentenced to death, but his sentence was commuted to a 14-year prison sentence.
Wait, did he kill the girls?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he killed 2 and sexually assaulted the others at gunpoint.
Because that sounds a lot like, oh gosh, why did it go blank? What's his name?
Sugar Plum?
No, the guy from Washington that went to Salt Lake and then went to Florida.
Oh, Ted Bundy?
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, it
Kinda
does
sounds like that.
actually. Lawson's time in prison did not rehabilitate him at all. Once released on parole, he was working with a 16-year-old girl, painting her portrait. During the course of the sitting, Lawson tied her up, sexually assaulted her, and then stabbed her to death.
Oh, there it
Yeah.
is.
Horrible people in the world. I don't like people. I like ghosts.
What's his first name?
Leonard Keith Lawson. I know. I was
Leonard.
trying to figure out if it was that guy we were talking
Bitch face Leonard.
Bitch face Leonard. Yes. We need a bitch face in every episode.
Every episode now. You guys are doomed.
Yeah,
Just
for
wait.
sure. The next day, he carried a gun into a Sydney Church of England girls' grammar school, and he took several students hostage. During the siege, 15-year-old Wendy Sue Loosecombe was shot and killed.
Ugh, I was really hoping it was to say Wendy Lou beat the shit out of him.
Oh, I would have loved that,
I
girl.
really thought that's where you were going, but
And
it
then-
actually went a very different way.
This is actually the story we heard on the tour because we didn't investigate where this happened because you're like, I'm not investigating at a church. 10 years into his second incarceration at the jail, Lawson attended a dance performance in the prison. At the conclusion, he jumped up on stage, grabbed a dancer, Sharon Hamilton. He had somehow acquired a knife, which he used to hold Sharon captive. Although she was eventually released by Lawson, she took her own life due to post-traumatic stress.
Wait,
6 years
this is
later.
at the jail?
Uh-huh.
So they wear shackles where they can't take their pants off, don't get furniture, but they're allowed to go to dances?
It was in the church. I remember
Right,
Pete
but
saying,
still.
I don't know.
Jail's weird in Australia.
Well, this is after he's back in jail. So maybe he
Right.
didn't have the shackles.
the second time around?
Oh, that was solitary.
okay.
maybe he
So when
wasn't-
you're just at jail, it's kind of like high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. And then I have in all caps with 2 exclamation points, now talk about our experiences. This is where it becomes interactive. Are you ready?
Yes.
Another story that I didn't find anything on.
Sugar plum?
You can talk about Sugar Plum. But the dude who cut up his cellmate,
Yeah, and
chopped him in little pieces, and flushed him down the fucking
yeah,
toilet.
all in a night.
All in a
That's
night.
impressive.
I went in there all by myself.
I know.
I don't know how I did that.
That's honestly more impressive than the people that escaped Alcatraz.
Oh, yeah.
I almost said Azkaban. I'm not kidding. No, but seriously,
Yeah.
that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Weren't we in another cell that somebody had dug out a place and escaped?
Yes.
Was that the old guy's wing?
I don't know. We go to a lot of jails.
No, I'm still all talking about Parramatta.
Oh, people escaped? Yes. Yes, they
It's
dug
been
out of a
about
wall.
year. Yeah, they did. They did. And didn't he like end up calling his grandmother or something?
Yes, that's what happened. He called his grandma, said, "Hey, I just got out of jail." He just said that he got out of jail.
No, he said, get dinner ready.
Yeah, get dinner ready.
Because I'm about to escape.
Oh, I thought he said because I'm about to get out. And then she called to see what time he's getting out so she could pick him up or something like that.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. He didn't tell her he was going to
Right.
escape.
He just was like, hey, get dinner ready. I'm getting out today. So she calls up to jail like, hey, what time's Billy Bob getting out so I can come pick him up? And they're like, he's not getting out. She's
So
like,
they went
"No,
to check his cell.
He just told me. And so his grandma ratted him out.
Oh, poor grandma. But good job, grandma.
But back to the toilet flushing.
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't want to talk about too much and give too much of the episode away. It's a two-parter in season 2.
Yep.
We had some amazing interaction there.
Yeah, honestly, still to this day, that is the craziest, what I think is residual evidence that I've
Oh, yeah.
ever experienced. And again, this isn't going to give anything away. So Kitsie and I both decided that we were going to put on our big kid pants and each go to our own whole building because there were several buildings.
Right.
So
And there was like a football field in between these buildings.
right.
at
So she
least.
goes to the one where the toilet flushing happened. Mm-hmm. I go to one that looked like it could still be in operation. Like,
because it had been made up for a movie or filming or something. It was all cleaned up and nice.
so it didn't look too scary. So I'm in there less than 3 minutes. And I keep hearing like something walking around. And again, we're in Australia. So there are animals and things that
Very
can
large
end your
animals that
life
can
in
kill you.
12 seconds.
Yes.
And so obviously, and it's dark. All I have
So
is
dark.
the camera. And I'm like, what is that sound? Like, there is something in here. Mm-hmm. So, like she said, there were Pete and
Alex.
Yep. They were on site, but they weren't like investigating with us. They were just there to
Kind of making sure
we
we
were
were safe and not getting into trouble.
fine. And so I leave this building, and I was like, "Can you come in here?" Because again, someone from Australia, I feel like they could, handle this animal better than I could. And
Rabid koala.
something. Yeah. And so we're sitting there, and we hear it walking, and it sounds like it's. You actually have to delete this. So I go get him, and that's why you need to go listen to the episode, because it wasn't an animal.
It wasn't.
It wasn't, but that's why you need to watch the episode, because I swear, still to this day, it's some of the most prominent, like, residual evidence that I've ever experienced.
You were freaked the fuck out.
I was actually freaked out.
Yeah. I will say the most amazing thing I learned on that is my process of fear when I was by myself.
I remember walking out to ask like Alex or Pete to come in, and I just see past one of the windows, Kitsie run past screaming. Literally, it just like it like fades away, and I'm like, what is happening in that building?
So I'm in this place all by myself, and my process of fear goes like this. I'm terrified. I'm talking nice. I start to, feel a little uneasy, so I
Talk louder.
talk louder. But I'm still being nice and respectful. And then I get really scared. I just fucking get pissed. And I'm like, look here, motherfuckers.
I think what happens in your head though is like, it's the whole silence thing. That's what
So
scares us so
quiet.
much is when
Yeah.
you're quiet. That's when you can hear things. And so if you're talking, you can't hear anything.
No.
Or and if you're really scared, if you're screaming, you can't hear anything.
No.
So she's not standing. She is screaming, just walking rapidly down these hallways.
That's why I love the Wonder Box so much, because it's so much noise.
See, and I have the opposite.
Yeah. You
I
prefer
just
the quiet?
I shut up because I want to know if something's going to kill me. I want to know from which direction it's coming from.
Well, that's when I got really scared, is when I'm in there by myself. I've got just the speaker. I don't have the Wonder Box. Like up close to my ear listening to it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I would not hear anybody come up and bum rush me right
And that's
now.
why in some of these places, especially jails, when we have the Wonder Box or the Spirit Box going, and it's so loud and it's all concrete and metal walls, so it just echoes endlessly. You're like, we're this is how my
And
life's
this was
gonna-
like a 3-floor
Oh, yeah.
prison, and it was echoing everywhere. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this at all.
It was scary.
But it was a great episode.
It was.
So much so that it had to be 2 parts. So
Right. I remember when I was editing it, I was like, this will be the longest episode.
yeah.
It will be the Avengers Endgame of Oddity Files.
Hey, let us know what you guys think about it. You can get a hold of us at oddity-filescrew@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about the reality TV show on Amazon. Let us know what you're thinking about the podcast. I did want to give a shout out to the folks over at the Parramatta. And am I even pronouncing that? Is it Parramatta or Parramatta?
I think it kind of goes either way.
Okay, so I'll spell it for you. It's PARRAMATTAGAOL Ghost Tours. So they spell jail, GAOL. So it's Parramatta Jail Ghost Tours.com.au. So definitely check it out if
And they
you're
are
out
like
in
a really
Sydney.
cool bunch of people. They're very down to earth.
Yes.
And just like
Pete is one of my favorite people
Pete is
still to this
absolutely
day.
amazing. So if you ever find yourself in there or around Sydney and you have like some time to spare, it's absolutely worth checking out. Not even to investigate or anything like that, just to go on a tour of the place to see its sheer scale. I remember when we were walking this, and again, it was an investigation that Carter couldn't be at. So it was just the two of us. And I'm like, how do we do this in a night? And we couldn't. Like, there were buildings that we never went to.
Yeah.
And if you're from the United States or from the UK or really anywhere except Australia, you'll also see in the episode that their bats are the size of literal buzzards.
They're so fucking
Their
huge.
wingspan is probably 4 feet wide.
I was surprised we didn't get a ghost of one of those bats.
When I saw one go by, I was like, what is that bird? Like, it just looks weird.
No,
and then it
legit,
hit me
like-
that it was a bat. And then luckily, one had caught itself in the barbed wire and died, so we could see one up close.
But it was the biggest bat I've ever seen in my life. Like the bats that fly around my house.
they're like
like
mice.
mice. Yeah. This
No.
was like legit, like one of those ginormous fucking crows.
I'm not exaggerating. I bet its wingspan was 4 feet wide, like as wide as my arm.
Yeah, easy.
They were massive, and they're bats. Australia shit.
They have the weirdest animals over there, and they can all kill you.
I'll kill you. But
There's-
yes, go visit. You'll love it. You won't die.
Yeah, yeah. And if you can't make it to Sydney, head on over to Amazon Prime, add Oddity Files to your watch list, and check it out on there. I don't have like a very good segue for this, so I'm just gonna fucking go for it.
Okay.
I was at Lexington Comic-Con. One sec. I was at Lexington Comic and Toy Show, or is it Lexington Toy and Comic Show? That's it. Right?
Toy and Comic Con.
Yes, which was amazing. Met some wonderful people there. What a great show. If you're in the area, you should check it out. But my brother from another mother, the other one, the younger brother, is Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
And he was there. And I've been talking paranormal with him for a very long time.
Yeah.
A very long time. And I'm not gonna give too much information. I'm just gonna let this play.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I've got my little brother I always wanted here with me. I've got Jason David Frank. We all know him as the White Power Ranger, sometimes the Green Power Ranger.
White's her favorite, but yeah, green.
Yeah.
Green, white, many other colors.
But he's got a ghost. He lives in a haunted house, right?
I think my house is haunted. I really do. I've experienced stuff in my house, and I totally believe in that. Grant Wilson is a friend of mine, and we actually, for my reality show, My Morphin Life, we did this little hunt, and he gave me some tips and tools, and actually did experience some stuff, not just at my house, but outside the house. So, yeah, it was. And I know you're into this too.
I talk about it to you all
you
the
do
time.
talk about it, but yeah, I do feel that. I do feel just strange things.
Yeah. So tell me why you think your house is haunted. What's actually happened?
Oh man, I've had lots of things happen
What's
in my
your
house
ghost
before.
story, Jason?
Too many of them, but I think the biggest ghost story that for me was, it was late at night, and Tammy, my wife, we kind of had a little bit of an argument or whatever, and I was in my room in my bed, and so she kind of came over, and I saw her, and she put her knee on the bed. I felt the bed go in, and then she went to reach down to kiss me, and I was just one of those days where I was like, I'm not yet, not now. I'm just I just Tammy, not now. And then all of a sudden she started backing up and looked really, really strange. And she was wearing the same stuff that I noticed she was wearing. But when she was backing up, I was like scared. I was like, Tammy, quit looking at me like that. Stop looking at me like that. And then she just went into the shadows and then just disappeared under this dresser.
What?
And so I woke up and wasn't up. I was up. I was like, Tammy, what the heck? So I ran all the way upstairs to get Jenna, and Tammy was sleeping with Jenna.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, oh my God, and she's like, I heard you scream. What's wrong? I'm like, oh, I thought you were down there. Like, what the heck? Like, it was just mind blowing. And and then one time talking with Grant, I called Grant because I was kind of freaked out. I was alone.
You had him on your YouTube show, right?
Yeah, I had him on my YouTube show, but this was like after my YouTube show. I just called him as a friend. I said, look, man, I've been videoing stuff and seeing glitches, and all my dogs are going crazy over a particular area. I said, I'm just freaked out right now. And he's like, okay, look, they can't hurt you. They're like Poindexters, man. You give them if you give them the fear, they're going to feed on it. And I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, it's just really, I'm experiencing weird things. And then I heard a scream. Like this crazy devil scream. And
As you were talking to
As
Grant.
I was talking to Grant. Now, I didn't want to say anything to look stupid, but Grant goes, what was that?
Oh,
and
wow.
I said, dude, you're not going to believe it. I just heard a scream. He goes, no, I believe it. Okay, here's what you do. Go upstairs. Tell them to get out of your house. They're wimps. You're tough. You're a fighter. Go up there and turn on the lights. Look everywhere and say, get out of my house. And that's what I did. And but there was many stories like that.
Yeah.
And
so
it's just
things seem to quiet down a little bit then? Or?
It's tough. It really is, because sometimes people don't like to think about it. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
that, things have controls over certain people. I mean, I remember Grant saying, oh, don't worry. Ghosts only come after people with psychological problems. I'm like, yeah, okay, Grant.
See the look on Jason's face right now.
No. Yeah. So,
Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Is
problem.
there anything you need to plug? What do you got coming up?
well, I've been working on this JDF Spoken Truth series. I write poems, and I've been writing poems for many years, and finally I just decided.
Look at these layers to you. I love it.
You've never seen my stuff? Oh, I'm going to have to send it to you. I showed it to everybody. Bruce and Sean Ashton's been a big fan of mine pushing these things out, so I've got about 60 of them. I've already filmed 4, and they just keep coming. So I've been writing a lot, and I'm just passionate about it because it deals with everyday life.
Yeah.
Everyday life.
Well, you're an inspiration to so
Thank
many,
you.
and that's awesome. And thank you so much
I
for being
appreciate
on.
it.
That's crazy.
Right? Did you have any idea?
No, and you know what's funny is I remember the first time I met him. So, me being the age I am, I grew up in the smack dab middle of the
yeah,
Power
you did.
Rangers era, and so I was a huge Power Rangers fan. You can ask anyone in my family that I would not go like play with my friends until Power Rangers was over, and it was like every different rendition and generation of Power Rangers they came out with. And so when I met him for the first time, I remember being like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy.
Fucking the Green Ranger.
Yeah. So that's so cool knowing that he had that experience.
Oh, I know. And he's literally a part of the family at this point. We've been working with him for so long.
Since basically the beginning.
Yeah. And while you were watching it as a child, I was the mom that was going out to try to find the goddamn white tiger Zord for her children for birthdays and
Right.
Christmas and shit like that. I remember scouring Toys R Us, and that's why I'm hashtag White Ranger, because I did finally, well, I didn't find it. Chris, my husband, found it, but we got the goddamn tiger Zord.
I just remember I had this giant like plastic Megazord that like walked on its own, and like
Oh, yeah.
it was loud as
Power
hell.
Rangers was a shit. Jeff. Jason is a great guy.
Yeah.
He's part of a amazing franchise, and we are so honored to have him on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. So don't forget to rate, review, subscribe on whatever podcast app you're listening on. Check out our website, oddityfiles.com. Click shop for merch. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram at Oddity Files. We also have a Facebook page and a secret private Facebook fan group called Oddity Files fan group. I can never get that right.
No, but what's really cool about the fan group is that like we sometimes leak some information there or like
do.
drop hints at who our next celeb guests are going to be and stuff like that. So if you are interested in being in the know,
Yeah.
head over there.
And sometimes we'll do this live on there, which we haven't done in a hot minute.
I know.
Which we should probably do that again
know.
soon. So, yeah.
Well, jet lag.
Dude.
And not as an excuse this time because when Kitsie and I got back from Australia, how long did we use jet lag as an
I'm
excuse?
still going to use it for 3 weeks.
As long as we could.
Yeah.
But for real jet lag, because it's now 8 p.m. here, which, no, it's almost 10 o'clock.
When did that
It's
happen?
almost 10 o'clock here, so that's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
And
so
hashtag wine. So
you're not even the weakest link. We're the weakest link.
we're the weakest link. And weird is the new cool.
Goodbye.